All right, so this is chapter 16, the first three sections. It's about the special senses or the senses in the nervous system. So this is part of the nervous system, specifically sensation. So what are sensory receptors? They provide information what's going on outside your body, what's going on inside your body, and they respond to something called stimuli. Whether you turn on the lights, you get pinched, you have a stimuli. You eat too much sugar, stimuli. Each type of receptor responds to a specific type of stimulus. For example, the receptors in your eye respond to light. Receptors in your ear respond to sound. Sensation, how that's different than receptor or what sensation specifically means is that you're consciously aware of that thing happening. Meaning, for you to become aware of it consciously, that information needs to make its way to the cerebral cortex, that outer layer of the cerebrum. But not all stimuli, things that are happening to you, make it to consciousness. Some goes to other parts of the brain, for example, blood pressure, which is caused by a stimulus, a high or low blood pressure, something that increases your blood pressure. You're not consciously aware of that. There are receptors give your brain information about a few different things. Modality is what type of stimulus is bringing you that information. So when information comes to the brain via optic nerve, you know it's a visual information. If it's coming via cochlear nerve from the ear, you know that it's auditory. Your brain also determines the location depending on which receptive field is active or how. So like, remember we talked about the homunculus in the brain. So if it receives information on a part of the brain, you know that is where it's coming from. Intensity. So how intense the stimuli is depends on how many neurons or nerve signals reach the central nervous system. Stronger stimuli cause more neurons, to fire or fire more frequently. More neurons firing at the same time or more or less firing more frequently. Something called adaptation helps determine stimulus duration. Adaptation is something that happens if you have prolonged stimuli, like for smell, for example. If you're smelling something for a long time, you kind of get used to it, so you have decreased sensitivity. It doesn't bother you as much over a long period of time. Receptors can be classified in different ways by their distribution, what stimuli originates, where it originates, and the modality of it. So it can be a general sense receptor, and these are simple, spread throughout the body, or it can be a special sense receptor. We have 5 special senses. It includes olfaction or smell, gustation or taste, audition, which is hearing, and then equilibrium, which is also in the inner ear, balance, and then so the last one would be vision here. Those are special senses. Everything else is considered general. Where the stimulus originates is another way you could categorize it. So is the stimuli happening outside in the external environment? So the things in your body that detect external stimuli, skin and mucous membranes, or special sense receptors within those places. If it originates inside the organs, it would be called interoceptors. Some stimuli is detected in your body, in your limbs, obviously in your body, in the movements of your limbs. So these are receptors specifically located in your muscles, the tendons, and the joints. Those are the proprioceptors, gonna tell your brain about problems in those areas. So those are the origins of them. There's also different modality of stimulus categories, and these are the 3 There's actually 4 or 5. 3 on this page, 5 on the next. Chemoreceptors detect chemicals, which their name would imply, that have to be dissolved in fluids to be able to be detected. Thermoreceptors, as their name would imply, detect temperature, hot and cold. Photoreceptors, also, as their name would imply, photo, picture, detect light, intensity, color, movement, things you see. Mechanoreceptors detect distortion of the cell membrane, so stretch, vibration, touch, pressure, things that move the cell membrane. And the last type of modality is pain receptors. They're called nociceptors. Okay. Tactile receptors are a specific type of external receptors in the skin and mucous membranes. They allow us to feel things, sense things in the external environment. The endings of which of these receptors can be encapsulated or enclosed or free. So unencapsulated, meaning it doesn't have a covering over them with no protective cover, include free nerve endings and root hair plexuses. Free nerve endings very widely distributed in the skin, the mucous membranes, and detect different things like pain, temperature, light, touch, pressure. They have no capsule over them. Around your root of your hairs, in your head, in your eyebrows, wherever you have hair, the root in the skin is also surrounded by branches of nerve endings that detect hair displacement, hair getting pulled. Another, and the last uncapsulated or receptor that detects touch would be Merkel cells. And you can see Merkel cells here. It's like a disc, a flattened disc, like a hand. And they respond to light touch. So like a swipe there. So free nerve endings, root hair plexuses, and Merkel cells are all examples of unencapsulated tactile receptors. The next category of tactile receptors, because we're talking about touch, tactile, would be ones that are enclosed by connective tissue. And that's our word here, connective. Some examples, Krauss bulbs. They're located in your dermis layer of your skin, your mucous membranes. They detect pressure and vibration. So they're deeper in the dermis, capsulated. Pacinium is also a corpuscle that's deeper in the dermis, even into the lowest layer of the skin and on some organs. Also detects deep pressure, touch, vibration. Another example is another corpuscle called a Ruffini that also detects deep pressure, lower in the dermis, or skin distortion, so a pull on the skin, like a snake bite type of thing. Meisinger corpuscles are in the higher regions of the dermis, and they are very sensitive, or they're located in a lot of sensitive regions of the body. Make sure you note this, they are light touch receptors. So more sensitive areas of your skin, for example, your lips, your fingertips, are going to have more tactile receptors to allow you to sense those things. And that's just a picture. Okay, so see the yellow here? That's the nervous tissue, and it's surrounded by connective tissue. That's like that. What color is that? Tan color? That's what that means, to be encapsulated. Referred pain is something very unique, I think, that happens. It is inaccurate localization of pain. So you feel pain somewhere in your body, but that's not actually the cause of the pain where you're feeling it. So, your brain is essentially not able to figure out the true source of where the pain is coming from. For example, heart attack. A lot of times the pain manifests in men, especially in the pectoral region and the median of your left arm. Okay, so the pain, you're like, ouch. My arm hurts. If you look up a picture of a heart attack, you might even see a picture of somebody hunched over grabbing their arm. They feel the pain there, although the pain is in the heart. That's where it's coming from. The reason why is the nerves that innervate those parts of the body, the heart and pectoral region and the medial arm, both branch from the same segments in the spinal cord. Kidney or ureter pain, the ureters come off the kidneys, can be referred to your inferior abdomen because the nerves branch from the same area. I just wanted to write this word here, that's why I took out this blank. Bladder pain, pain in your bladder, can show up, refer pain to the buttocks, which I thought was kind of fun and interesting. So here's just an image of, here's the last one I talked about. You're having pain in your bladder, but your butt hurts because of that. So that's referred pain because of how the nerves innervate both of those areas. Phantom pain. I'll have a video here that I linked that I'll show in class. But this is a lot of times if somebody, well, I think it pretty much comes with the territory. If you lose a limb, you can have what's called phantom pain. Even though I've lost my left arm at the elbow, it still feels like I have that arm. Phantom pain. So you not only think, your brain thinks it's there, you actually have pain. Your brain thinks it hurts, which is crazy. And the pain can be quite severe. So there's different training to try to retrain the brain that to learn that the pain is not there, that the limb is not there. I've seen mirror training where you have to look in the mirror to see that limb is gone. Different examples of that, but I'll show a video that talks a little bit more of that in depth. The first special senses that we're going to talk about is smell and then taste. The sense of smell is called olfaction. How we detect smell is molecules have to dissolve in the mucus. And the smell is detected by receptors that are called chemoreceptors. And why smell is important? It provides information about the quality of the food, about people, and about possible danger. And we can distinguish thousands of different odors. And different neurons will be activated depending on the molecule. The organ of smell is called the olfactory epithelium, and it's in the superior region of the nasal cavity. There are 3 different cells within that area. The actual odor detecting cells are called the olfactory receptor cells, and they are bipolar in structure. Around them, you have cells that are there to support them, to help nourish them. And then you also have these cells called basal cells. And what these do is every 40 to 60 days, the basal cells will replace these worn out receptor cells. So you get new smelling neurons every 40 to 60 days. That's fun. And here's a picture of that olfactory epithelium at the top of the nasal cavity. And this is a close image of it. Here's the mucus layer. Here is the epithelium. In the yellow here, this represents the bipolar neuron. So you can see the end of it, the little hairs or the extension of the dendrites go into the mucus. And the other side, the axons group together to fit through the cribriform plate. Now that is the top of your palate to get it up into the brain. And this is, of course, the olfactory bulb, which is cranial nerve 1. So like I said, those receptor cells are bipolar. The olfactory hairs project from the dendrites of the neuron. And these are what hold the chemoreceptors for a specific odorant. And whatever smell you detect depends on which cells are stimulated in that process. Olfactory nerve, cranial nerve number 1, is olfaction. And it's a group of the